I know we have a lot of people that call themselves religious, and I believe that many of them, in their own way, believe they are. But real religion, and I'm an atheist, by the way, but real religion had a passion and belief behind it that was terrifying and powerful. And certain religion uh, does work on an 800-year-old religion, and many of those parts of the world haven't really advanced in some ways from that 800 years ago, because of the fact that many people know every other religion has been through a reformation. Only the Muslim one hasn't, so it's stuck in the Middle Ages. And this is what the problem is, and people read it literally, and because it's had no changes made to make it a little bit more modern day like the others have. I mean, the others were all fire and brimstone until they were, modernized. Um, some say too much, you know, um, but yeah, all of them had to be tamed down a little bit. But Islam's the only one that hasn't been. But I think what people need to believe, and this is more than Islam. When I try to say, when you come from a place, even as a kid, that's full of war, suffering, violence, unfortunately, when your back's up against the wall, when you're put to the test, you're more likely to respond with violence yourself than most other people because of that upbringing. It's just the way it is. But that culture gets in you early, and that's unfortunate. But when it's a choice between your citizens potentially getting hurt by that or not, I think the choice to me is clear and obvious. Give help there if you need to, but don't bring those people here if they're already damaged, and they most certainly would be. And we've done it, and we've seen the results. I think what we've got to realize is that people say, rightly, oh, not every single um, person that comes in the country or whatever else that comes from these specific countries is a terrorist. Well, no, they're right. They are right. But what they have got to realize is most of them do carry the same beliefs, including the terrorists. They carry the same belief system, and that belief system is not one that, unlike what the left think, that these people are going to come to our country, is as proven, by the way, over the last 40 years, that will come to our country, think, oh, it's all Western and wonderful here. I'm going to put down my weapons and my religion, and I'm going to abandon all that, and I'm going to grab all this stuff. No, they see our culture as an abomination. They see us allowing women to reveal themselves and to teach. One of the big things they feel very offended by is us allowing women to teach. The audacity of a woman presuming to be able to teach a man anything, a boy or a man anything, is too much for the many of them to bear. So much so that in some cases they actually left Germany to go back to Syria because they couldn't handle things like that happening, the freedom that was given to women. These are the beliefs of just the average people. It's just a different culture. I'm not even slamming it. It's a different fucking culture. We weren't too dissimilar a long time ago. But when you just allow empathy, what you call empathy, to allow it to cloud your judgment, especially when you start making stupid videos about people in dinghies, when you've got no idea of how hard that crossing actually is and isn't. When I have actually interviewed the people that have done that crossing, and there were people who didn't need to do it, and they did it with a shrug. It was nothing to them. Yeah, sorry. I think until we grasp the fact that the reason Pakistan, for instance, is a red country is because it's so bad there that your safety cannot be guaranteed anywhere. And the way they treat women and stuff like that there is absolutely through the floor. And yet, these are the same people that we're bringing into our country. Somalia, where people are literally cutting each other's heads off. Again, why would you import that culture into your culture? The cultures are not equal, especially if you don't want violence in your culture. This should have been understood ages ago, but it wasn't. We've now fucked everything up. And people need to realize it's not about whether someone is a terrorist or not. A terrorist is just the extreme end of any thought process. A terrorist is the extreme end, is the militarized end of any process. But the middle part, the people that have been the part that people have been defending, the moderate Muslims, the really good Muslims are actually a completely different end of the scale, and they tend to be much more relaxed about the whole religion. But the rest of them do believe the same things, have the same, will defend the people that do harm, will not condemn harmful acts towards people. They will secretly encourage them. And people don't understand in this country as well. It's been a while since we've had to get involved in real violence, but people from places like Rwanda and other places that come here, killing to them, by the time they come here, they've done a lot of it. And they're trained very well to not be, it's not a case of not just being bothered by it. They're trained to want to do the maximum damage possible. And to see anything else as failure. So that, and this has been verified multiple people now, this is part of their actual beliefs. Again, so you're letting people who believe you're going to kill, mass kill, because that's the way that you're gonna get the respect of the people that trained you, of the people that expect so much from you. And it's how you're gonna get your ultimate prize. It's at this point you've got to look at it and say, all cultures are not equal. And some of these ideologies, like Islam, they're religions, but they are they're forms of government. Religions and ideologies are all wrapped into one. And if this freedom of religion thing, to me, backfires when you introduce something like Islam into the fray. It exposes the problems with it. And why religion shouldn't be protected from many things that they are, because they're protected from so much law, and it's how they've been weaponized. The mosques and that have been weaponized over here. So, but again, it wasn't meant to be just Islam. It's meant to be a cultural thing. Look at the countries we wouldn't go to. Look at where we're bringing people in from. Look at the people committing the crimes in a lot of cases. And just understand, no, they don't have to be terrorists. They just have to come from a culture that is steeped in blood, and they unfortunately will be a product of that culture. So, no, they don't have to be a terrorist. It doesn't mean that they are not dangerous compared to the average citizen of this country, especially when you're taking them, a fish out of water, and putting them somewhere else. When they've come from a culture where domination is power, is the key to not getting hurt and the key to getting what you want. Then you put them into a society like this where people will, maybe seem to bow down to that, where it will seem to work for a while. I don't know. We've got things really twisted. and how no one had ever really pulled this apart and really hit the brakes on all of this, regardless of what money was at stake, because you can't, even if this is planned, right, which it does feel like it is, you can't control this. You can't control what's about to happen. You can set it ablaze, but you can't control a fire, and that's what they're doing. They've set ablaze something, and they can't control what's going to happen from here. Um, yeah, I don't know. About my little rant. Tom Fury's Euro News. Call it a day for now.